Hey there everyone, I'm Ashley Billington and you're watching The Campfire. This week we are deep diving into 4-6A. Districts got mixed up a little bit, and 4-6A looks a little bit different than it did in the past. These are the teams that you'll be seeing after realignment.
Keller Central, Fossil Ridge, Eaton, Byron Nelson, South Lake Carroll, and Timber Creek.
And you can vote for the team that you think will take the district crown in 4-6A on our Twitter account. Our handle is IHSSDFW. Now we have a quick trivia question for you.
What does Fossil Ridge alumna and actress Debbie Ryan compete in as the main character in Insatiable? A. Cheerleading, B. Soccer, C. Beauty pageants, or D. Debate?
Do you think you have the correct answer to that trivia question? Go anywhere you can find The Campfire on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube and leave a comment with the correct answer. Also, if you're a podcast person, The Campfire comes in podcast form. Go to Apple iTunes or Spotify to listen to our entire Inside High School Sports catalog. Now it's time for the film session, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents.
District 4-6A features the best junior quarterback in the state in South Lake Carroll's Quinn Ewers. The Dragons' gunslinger has just about every Division I college sending him mail, which is why South Lake Carroll is the odds-on favorite to win this district. Look for big years out of wide receiver Brady Boyd and sophomore running back Owen Allen. This will be Riley Dodge's third year as Carroll's head coach. He's had long playoff runs his first 2 years, only to be stopped by Duncanville. Look for the Dragons to make another run at that state championship game. It should be interesting to see who else makes it to the playoffs in this district. Fossil Ridge has a new head coach in Derek Ramsey, but they and Byron Nelson only managed one win in district play last year, so they have plenty of room to improve. Keller High returns quarterback Hayden Anderson and should definitely be in the hunt for a playoff spot. Another team who could find themselves back in the playoffs is Keller Central. The Chargers went 4-3 in district last year and hope to improve on that this year. Northwest Eaton is planning on highly recruited Jaden Gray to hold down the defensive line as the Eagles continue to improve. And finally, Timber Creek has a new head coach in Marshall Williams as the Falcons focus on rebounding from a 3-7 season.
Some fantastic teams in District 4-6A, but it also has some fantastic players. The North Texas Honda dealers want to recognize the players on the rise, those players destined to lead their team to victory.
South Lake's quarterback Quinn Ewers came on the scene in 2019. He was named Max Prep's Sophomore of the Year and District 5-6A overall MVP. In his first varsity season, he had 3,998 passing yards and 291 completions. Ewers also had another 600 rushing yards and 54 total touchdowns for the season. Look for him to have an even bigger 2020 season for the Dragons. Eaton has a big-time start in defensive end Jaden Gray. He will be going into his senior season ready to take Eaton to the next level. In 2019, Gray had 54 tackles and 8 solo tackles. He's committed to the University of North Texas. Going into his senior season, wide receiver Brady Boyd is ready to go for the Dragons. In his 2 years on varsity, he has 1,474 receiving yards with his 88 receptions. Boyd averaged 15 yards per catch in 2019 and had 8 total touchdowns. Quarterback Hayden Anderson will be going into his senior season for the Indians. Anderson had a solid 2019 stat line with 101 completions for 1,344 passing yards. He added another 319 rushing yards to his total and 13 touchdowns. Going into his senior season, he'll be looking to build on the Indians' third-place finish from district last season. Owen Allen was just a freshman in the 2019 season for South Lake Carroll. The running back filled the big shoes of who he took over the number 4 jersey of. Last season, Allen had 210 carries for 1,262 yards. Allen averaged 6 yards per carry and had 23 touchdowns for the 2019 season. He was named the 5-6A Newcomer of the Year.
And those players have achieved great things on the gridiron. But do you know somebody from the high school sports scene achieving great things in your community? A player, coach, or team going that extra mile. Nominate them for the North Texas Honda Helpful Heroes. To nominate, go to ihsshelpfulheroes.com and stay tuned to our social media accounts all summer long to see if your nomination is highlighted. Now it's time for our Media Day segment.
Hey there, everyone. I have the TikTok coach on with me for this week's Media Day segment, Marco Regaldo. Welcome to DFW. Welcome to Eaton. Welcome to the Metroplex. We're excited to have you. How are you settling in? You said you just came in yesterday.
Yes, right now I'm staying with a friend. I just wanted to kind of get up to the school, so I visited the school for the first time, got to meet the rest of the coaching staff, meet some of the kids today. But still, working on getting up here, moved in. I should be moved in by next week. I think I found a place. But I'm just excited, to be up here. It's a great environment, and everybody always talks about, coaching 6A football in the DFW. It's a dream.
Awesome. Well, welcome to DFW. We're excited to have you. So the TikTok coach, I have to ask you, so how did these videos come about? Because they've taken off. They've literally, almost every single one of them has gone viral.
So to be 100% honest, they came about through boredom. I was about 2 weeks into quarantine, and I decided to download the TikTok app after a couple of my students had talked about it, said, "Coach, you're funny, you should download it." So I downloaded it, looked through it. The first couple videos I uploaded was, me playing guitar or something like that. And I was really kind of getting that itch for football, and I said, what could I do that could really kind of, get out there a little bit? So I made a little funny video, but really it was only for, my family and friends and coworkers. Never did I expect it to kind of blow up the way it did. So the first video was, I was playing a lot of Madden on the Xbox just because it's the only thing to do that's like my sports fix. There was no sports on TV either. So I kind of did like this mock thing where I put on my slacks, my polo, sunglasses, hat, and like I was treating it like game day, but then I just stood in front of my TV and played Madden. So that was like the first video I did. But after that, it was just people enjoyed it and shared it and retweeted it. And, I started off with like 2,500 followers, and I think last I checked, I was over 13,000.
So when they started taking off like they did, what was your reaction to that? I mean, it's funny when you see a video and you think it's only going to get a couple of likes, retweets, downloads, and then you're like, oh my goodness, this thing's been downloaded 1,000 times or liked 6,000 times.
It was pretty crazy at first. I was kind of overwhelmed a little bit. Had a lot of people reach out to me that I never thought, would ever reach out to. And I think the big thing was when it hit the Football Scoop, which is a nationally known kind of like article website that football coaches look into. And after that, Hugh Freeze, head coach at Liberty, was retweeting that article. I had, some Division I coaches, coordinators reaching out in my direct messages. Some NFL coaches just kind of, telling me they appreciated what I was doing, that it was really funny. But it was a little overwhelming at first. Like I said, I didn't expect it to kind of blow up the way it did, and then I just kind of ran with it. People had really enjoyed it. But and then it got a little humbling. It was just, one thing that happened was I had a coach up north, like Wichita Falls area. He was telling me a story that he had a daughter who was 7 years old, and she passed away about a month or two ago. And he told me that, my minute-long videos was the time that he can watch and smile and laugh. And he just kind of thanked me, and he appreciated what I was doing, and it was helping him through a hard time. And that's kind of when I realized what my why was, why I was doing this. Because at first I thought I was just making people laugh, but I just realized it was a lot bigger than that. It was bigger than me. And that's kind of why I kept doing it. I just wanted to continue to make people feel good.
That's awesome. Okay, so out of all the videos you've made, which one's been your favorite video?
That's tough. I really like the coaching school one, but I think the one I did recently with the Willy Wonka, when you finally get your Dave Campbell magazine, I thought when the idea hit me, I couldn't stop laughing. I called my brother and I told him about it. He couldn't stop laughing. I enjoyed making that one.
Okay, so you're like the best at giving coaching impressions. For our fans for IHSS, can you give them a good impression so they can see what you're all about?
All right, I guess I'll do everybody's favorite, the old school coach who won't retire. I guess he goes a little bit like he's got his pants hiked up to here. And he's got his coffee mug. I don't have one right now, but his best one is hey, listen here, son. I've been coaching longer than you've been alive.
Thank you so much for joining us here on The Campfire. We'll be right back after a couple messages from our sponsors.
The North Texas Honda dealers recognize members of our high school sports community who take time out to be helpful heroes. Nominate a helpful hero today at ihsshelpfulheroes.com. The film session is brought to you by your local North Texas Geico agents. To find the office near you, go to geico.com/DFW. The District Breakdown is presented by GiveMeTheVin.com. These teams make it look easy, just like GiveMeTheVin.com makes it easy to sell your vehicle.
Welcome back to The Campfire. District 4-6A is going to be interesting, as you have the perennial power of South Lake Carroll looking to take another district title. Some really good Keller ISD teams looking to make a big splash in the 2020 season, and so much more. Now it's time for the District Breakdown, presented by GiveMeTheVin.com. We welcome in Inside High School Sports Insider Ryan Harris to break down District 4-6A a little more. Ryan?
Thanks, Ashley. District 4-6A is exactly the same as the previous District 5-6A, except Denton Guyer is still in District 5-6A. That means there will be an extra playoff spot vacated by a Wildcat squad who is no longer in this district. Let's break down District 4-6A and take a look at who might fill that last playoff spot. We'll start with the Byron Nelson Bobcats. Byron Nelson didn't win a game until its final game of the season last year, finishing just 1-9. Despite winning just one game, the Bobcats have plenty to build on in 2020. Byron Nelson was competitive in several close losses last season, and it returns 2 stars on offense. Running back Max Modeste and offensive guard Femi Sakiri are both 3-star recruits committed to UConn. The Bobcats will need to perform at a high level if a playoff appearance is in the cards. The Eaton Eagles are another team looking to make the playoffs after missing out last season. Eaton had a young squad that was competitive last season en route to a 4-6 record. Close losses against Central, Keller, and Byron Nelson sunk the Eagles' playoff chances. However, Eaton should absolutely have playoff aspirations in 2020, with plenty of returning talent on both sides of the football. We'll start on offense, where the Eagles are returning running back Jabez Hawkins, who rushed for nearly 1,000 yards a year ago. Hawkins will have the pleasure of running behind one of the better offensive line groups in the district, anchored by Heston Edwards and Hunter Erb. Plenty of talent is returning at wide receiver as well, and Braden St. Ama figures to take over at quarterback in 2020. The defense returns plenty of talent as well, headlined by defensive end and 3-star recruit Jaden Gray and defensive back Jalen Thompson. With all the returning talent Eaton has, the Eagles are my pick to fill the playoff spot vacated by Denton Guyer. Over in Keller ISD, 3 Keller schools will have new head coaches in 2020. We'll start with the Central Chargers. Mike Sports has been the defensive coordinator at Central for the last decade, and he's been promoted to head coach. This is good for a Central team that finished 7-4 and made the playoffs a year ago. Sports is plenty familiar with the program and his players, so the Chargers shouldn't miss a beat in 2020. There are plenty of question marks for Central in 2020 though. Athlete Landon Walker will compete for the quarterback job, but he'll need to have a big season regardless of what position he ends up playing. There is plenty of talent returning at wide receiver, but the Chargers have questions at running back. Darius Graham returns to lead a strong linebacking core, but there are plenty of holes to fill on the defensive side of the ball for Central as well. Central has a lot of plug-and-play athletes, and it will be crucial for Sports to figure out what works best for his team early in the season. Tony Baccarini won't be on the sidelines at Fossil Ridge this fall for the first time since 2007. Former Denton Guyer defensive coordinator Derek Ramsey is now in charge of the Panthers and inherits a team that finished just 1-9 a year ago. There are questions in the backfield where Fossil Ridge lost its quarterback and running back from a season ago. Top receiving target Russell Wilkerson will be back to help out the new quarterback. Jordan Ederson returns to lead a strong linebacking corps, and talent returns along the defensive line as well. Ramsey will have his work cut out for him in 2020 as he starts from scratch with Fossil Ridge. Marshall Williams swapped schools in District 4-6A after serving under Riley Dodge as South Lake Carroll's offensive coordinator a year ago. Williams is now the head coach at Timber Creek, and he has some work to do. Timber Creek finished just 3-7 last season and struggled in district play. The Falcons will need to double their win total from last year in order to make the playoffs. Running back Caden Best will need to have a productive year if Timber Creek expects to play in the postseason. Defensive back Cameron Minix is also back, and he'll bring a physical mindset to the defense. There is a foundation to build on, but Timber Creek has plenty of work to do in 2020. Carl Strelo has led the Keller Indians to 3 straight playoff appearances for the first time since the 1960s. Keller has suffered heartbreaking losses in the first round of the playoffs the last 2 seasons. Can the Indians win a playoff game this year? It'll start with returning quarterback Hayden Anderson. The dynamic quarterback has gained steam on the recruiting trail recently and figures to have a big senior season this fall. He'll be protected by a solid offensive line led by Landon Bluebaugh and Hilton Marsh. Anderson will also have familiar targets to throw to and returning receivers Mason Hayes and Loden Atkinson. The biggest question for the Indians on offense is at running back, where they lose Enoch and Chobo. Replacing his production will be key. On defense, Keller returns defensive end Nick Ravalico and defensive back Zach O'Day. The Indians also return talent at linebacker. Now, I normally don't mention special teams, but a good punter can be a weapon too. Keller returns all-district punter Clayton Thomas, who can flip the field when he needs to. With plenty of returning talent in an easier district, this could be the year Keller finally breaks through and wins a playoff game. That leaves me with the team that everyone will have their eyes on in District 4-6A this season, the South Lake Carroll Dragons. Quarterback Quinn Ewers is the second-ranked player in the entire nation for the class of 2022 after a stellar sophomore campaign. Ewers passed for over 4,000 yards and 54 total touchdowns. Running back Owen Allen rushed for 23 touchdowns as a freshman, and Minnesota commit Brady Boyd is back at wide receiver for his farewell tour as a Dragon. The defense doesn't return as much talent as the offense does, though. Hawaii commit Sin-Q Williams will anchor the secondary along with Avon Jones, but South Lake Carroll has questions at every other position on defense. Replacing graduated production on defense could be what stands between the Dragons and another state championship in 2020. That brings me to my player and team to watch in District 4. My team to watch is the Keller Indians. South Lake Carroll will get all the attention in this district, no doubt. There's the top-ranked quarterback or the sophomore phenom at running back. There's the father-son showdown when Coach Riley Dodge takes on his dad, Todd, when the Dragons face Austin Westlake in non-district play. But watch out for the Keller Indians. I believe Keller is the second-best team in this district and is poised for a big year behind Hayden Anderson. I think Mason Hayes has a big year at wide receiver, and I think Keller will finally get that elusive playoff win. I'm interested to see just how often blue lights will be shining in 2020. My players to watch are South Lake Carroll quarterback Quinn Ewers and running back Owen Allen. I chose both Ewers and Allen because of how good they are and how young they are. The youth movement is in full effect with those two at South Lake Carroll. Ewers burst onto the national scene last season as a sophomore, and Allen could do the same this year in his sophomore campaign. I know everyone will have their eyes on these two, but also keep an eye on the 2 players I just mentioned for Keller, as well as Central athlete Landon Walker and Eaton defensive end Jaden Gray. Byron Nelson has a pretty good duo too that I mentioned earlier, and running back Max Modeste and offensive line. It was fun as always, Ashley, and I look forward to watching how this district plays out.
Ryan, great insight as always. See you next week. That's all we have for this week's episode of The Campfire. Come back every Monday for a new show. Next week, we'll be breaking down District 5-6A. Until then, follow our social accounts. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for watching The Campfire. I'm Ashley Bullington, and I'll see you next time.